Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and once again it's Newcastle takeover time, because there isn't a bigger story in football right now. Since the deal was confirmed, a ridiculous amount of players have been linked with moves to St James's Park, some that are realistic, some that are just laughable. On top of that, plenty of managers are being named as possible Steve Bruce replacements, again, some of which are bonkers. But today I'm going to bring it all together. I've got a list of pretty much every player that's been linked with a move to Newcastle since the takeover went through. 23 different names, all of which are now Newcastle United players. On top of that, they've got a new management team. I've given the job to Brendan Rodgers, but he's got new members of his backroom staff, with Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard becoming coaches. On top of that, Ralph Rangnick is becoming the club's new director of football. He won't have much to do though, as I've given Newcastle a transfer ban for 5 years. I want to see which of the players linked with Newcastle will thrive at St James's Park and which are binned off after about 5 minutes. Let's dive into the simulation and let's find out. Right, here we are at the beginning of the simulation. As you can see, Brendan Rodgers, the new Newcastle manager. I did this simulation before it was reported that he isn't going to be the new Newcastle manager, but whatever, we'll just have to deal with it. Other names being linked: Lucien Favre, probably the guy I'd want at the minute, but here we've got Brendan Rodgers, and as part of his staff you can see is Steven Gerrard. He's left Rangers, and they've also got Frank Lampard getting his first job since leaving Chelsea. The finances are of course rich because they are now probably the richest club in the world, but they've got a transfer ban until the 2nd of July 2025. By then, when they can eventually sign players, I'm not going to be interested in it. Let's have a little look at the team, and you can just see from this the plethora of players that are at Newcastle United right now. They've still got the original crop of players, your likes of John Joe Shelby's, your Paul Dummett's, your Isaac Hayden's, your Carl Darlow's. They're all still there, but 23 players have joined them at St James's Park. Let's have a quick run through of those names. I say a quick run through, it's 23 players for goodness sake. Some of these rumours aren't great in the sense of they're probably not true. Some, the likes of James Tarkowski, yeah, sounds feasible, but I'm going to go through every single one. Coming to Newcastle, we have got Yuri Tielemans, Philippe Coutinho, Jesse Lingard, Ross Barkley, John Stones, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Aaron Ramsey, James Tarkowski, Dele Alli, Donny van der Beek, Matthias de Ligt, Lorenzo Insigne, Jules Koundé, Mauro Icardi, Eric Bailly, Alfredo Morelos, Kalidou Koulibaly, Clement Lenglet, Christ this is a long list, Anthony Martial, Niklas Süle, and finally Timo Werner. Those are the new players who are at Newcastle United. But are all of them even going to play? Probably not. They can only have a 25-man Premier League squad, and there's already 23 players there, none of which are actually goalkeepers, or right backs or left backs. So a few big decisions to make for new boss Brendan Rodgers. But he's going to be flanked by Gerrard, and he's going to be flanked by Lampard. The pair didn't work together for England, but maybe they'll work together on the touchline at Newcastle. I'm going to simulate a year into the future. Let's see how season 1 goes of this very strange Newcastle United team. Right, here we are at the end of the first season, and Brendan Rodgers' Newcastle side have made it into the Europa League. They finished 6th in the Premier League, and they've got a new captain in Matthias de Ligt. Let's check the Premier League table out. Let's see how they got on in that first season. Newcastle finishing 6th ahead of Tottenham and Rafa Benitez's Everton as well. Newcastle are in 6th place, 64 points. They were 13 points shy of the Champions League with a star-studded team. Let's check the players out. I'm going to assume a fair few of them were sold on last season. Let's go to the transfer centre. And a lot of players have left the club. Joe Linton went out on loan. They sold Matt Ritchie. They sold John Joe Shelby. Sean Longstaff was loaned out. Fabian Schär's been sold. Isaac Hayden sold. Jacob Murphy sold. Paul Dummett sold. Federico Fernandez sold. And even some of the new additions have also been shipped out. Alfredo Morelos loaned out straight away. James Tarkowski loaned out. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he's been sold to Southampton for a fee rising to £10 million. There's been a lot of change at Newcastle. Let's see who's actually still there from the first, the original Newcastle. You've got Woodman, Manquillo, St Maximin, Fraser, Dubravka, Clark, Almiron, Joe Linton, but he could be on the way out. Christ, there aren't actually any... Is there any original Newcastle players who aren't on the transfer list? Carl Darlow, Sean Longstaff. That might be it. Martin Dubravka, he's not on the transfer list. Ryan Fraser is. Even Alan St Maximan, they're trying to get rid of him. Freddie Woodman's not. Well done, Freddie. So basically they're keeping all 3 goalkeepers because they can't sign any and they haven't been linked with any. I mean, there was talks of Keylor Navas, but I don't think that was actually a genuine story. One of those rubbishy Spanish press ones. Out of the new additions, there's a few players who look like they're going to be sent out. Yuri Tielemans, he's requested to be transfer listed. Anthony Martial's requested to be transfer listed. Lorenzo Insigne's asked to leave. Who else has? Timo Werner, he wants to go. Jesse Lingard's on the transfer list. Eric Bailly is, Morelos is, Niklas Sula is. And James Tarkovsky as well, who could be going to West Brom. I mean, after a year, a lot of these players are going to be binned off. Wesley Fofana, I don't think I mentioned him when I was going through the players. He's on the loan list. Let's pick a couple of players out, see how they've got on. Donny van de Beek, he's an interesting one. Failing at Man United currently. How's he got on in his first year? He's actually playing football, which makes a difference, and he's doing well. Well done, Donny. What about Timo Werner? How did he get on at Newcastle? Not many goals for Chelsea, but at Newcastle, 18 Premier League goals. That's a good tally from Timo Werner. Dele Alli, how's he got on? Not great, only played 16 times, only 3 starts in the Premier League, hasn't even got a squad number. Aaron Ramsey, like to think he'd done well. Could even be a possible realistic-ish marquee signing for Newcastle. Although he hasn't done amazing at St James's Park. Neither is John Stones. John Stones only playing 2 times. Both of which in the Premier League were off the bench. Then again, that's not actually that big a surprise considering they've got Kalidou Koulibaly, Clem Longuet, Jules Koundé, Niklas Sula. A lot of options who can play centre back. This Newcastle team have got a lot of players who play in the same position. A lot of centre backs, a lot of centre midfielders. No goalkeepers. I mean, Manquillo's playing right back there. I think in the simulation, yeah, Koundé was playing right back. Left back, they've been going with Jamal Lewis, a player who hasn't really played a lot of football for Newcastle since he arrived. Well, when he did, he hasn't been very good. Anthony Martial, how's he got on? Only 5 goals in a Newcastle shirt. That's not very good either. Surely Icardi's been banging them in. The number 9. Barely played. 3 appearances and 1 goal. So many of these players aren't featuring. I'm quite surprised at it. Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard are still there, though, still working alongside Brendan Rodgers. And under their management, Newcastle finished 6th in their first season. They're going to be in the Europa League. Let's simulate another 2 years into the future. Let's see by 2023 which of these players are still at Newcastle United. Right, here we are 2 years into the future for Newcastle. And while they made it into the Champions League in the 2nd season, by the 3rd season, they dropped down to 10th and have sacked Brendan Rodgers. When did Brendan Rodgers lose his job? Let's have a little look. Brendan Rodgers was sacked on the 11th of March 2023, so only a few months ago, with Newcastle not performing very well in the Premier League. But he did get them into the Champions League. Are Gerrard and Lampard still there? No. Gerrard and Lampard have gone. I assume they followed Brendan Rodgers out of the door in March. Steven Gerrard left in 2023. He's currently wanted by Liverpool. Wow. And Frank Lampard, what about him? He also left in 2023 and isn't wanted by Liverpool, which is fair enough. He is a Chelsea legend. He's got a preference to be a manager for Chelsea, which is... I mean, you've already had that opportunity, Frank, and it didn't go very well. Anyway, the golden team that I gave Newcastle United of managers have left. The fantastic trio, the Fab Three, the three amigos, the 3 musketeers of Rodgers, Gerrard, Lampard, sacked after just over about 2 seasons and 2/3. They finished 6th, they finished 4th, and then the wheels came off in season 3. Let's go back to season 2. Let's see how they got on. Obviously, they were playing in the Europa League. Have they won any cups? They had a great start of the season, actually. Unbeaten in their first 5 Premier League games. Martial doing well, Insigne doing well. Europa League, how far did they go? They made it to... they got knocked out of the group stages, which is poor. Made it to the Europa Conference League, where they lost to Olympiacos in the first knockout round. That's very poor. League Cup, beaten in the semi-finals by Arsenal. And in the FA Cup, they also made it to the semi-finals, losing to Manchester United. But they came 4th in the Premier League with a great performance. and that put them into the Champions League in Season 3. They were up against Salzburg, Atletico Madrid and Lyon. Quite a tough group, but amazingly, they made it through. They made it to the first knockout round where they were beaten 4-1 on aggregate by Bayern Munich. Elsewhere in the Cups, they were beaten in the League Cup third round by Everton. FA Cup for the second season in a row, they made it to the semi-finals, losing on penalties to Arsenal. A lot of cup football being played by Newcastle, and that saw them finish 10th in the Premier League. Let's go back to the season. They finished 4th. They were ahead of Chelsea, ahead of Tottenham, ahead of Arsenal, and they were actually only 4 points off the title. That is incredible from Newcastle, and amazing to see that in a 12 months time Brendan Rodgers was out the job. They came 10th in Season 3 with Jorge Sampaoli finishing off the job. 49 points to finish bottom of the top half. Let's have a little look at the team. Well, have a look who they've sold, See who else has been binned off by Newcastle. Obviously still can't spend any money. So from the original crop, Joe Linton sold, Kieran Clark sold, Sam Maximan sold, Kraft sold, Jamal Lascelles sold, Jeff Hendrick going to Boca Juniors, which is just incredibly strange. Callum Wilson going to Lille, Sean Longstaff loaned out, a couple of the kids going as well into the next season. Ryan Fraser sold, Almiron sold, Dubravka sold. So basically there can't be anyone left. Let's have a look at the squad, see who's left other than the goalkeepers maybe. Carl Darlow's still there, keeping net. Matty Longstaff's back at the club from his loan spell at Aberdeen. Joe Willock, his name cropping up for the first time in this video. Javi Manquillo there, but on the transfer list. And then we've got Jamal Lewis and Mark Gillespie, but Mark Gillespie on the transfer list, which is fair enough because he's not a very good goalkeeper. So it's a much more streamlined squad now. They've managed to bin off a lot of the dead rubber. I mean, even some of the players I gave them at the start of the simulation have gone. Your likes of John Stone's been loaned out, Tarkovsky's been sold, Morelos loaned out, Lingard's been sold, Dele Alli loaned out, Conor Gallagher loaned out. A lot of change at Newcastle United. It seems like Matthijs de Ligt is the star of the show though. He is the captain. 3 great seasons at Newcastle, average across 3 seasons of 7.4 in the Premier League, which is exceptional to be honest with you. Mauro Cardi, has he picked up at all? Average rating's okay, but he's not scoring a lot of goals. Not for a number 9, I'll tell you that. Yuri Tielemans, what about him in the middle of the park? Doing pretty good. 19 assists in that first season. That's one of the best tallies you'll ever see in the Premier League. Insigne, a man who's been recently linked, could arrive on a free. He's doing pretty well. And what about Philippe Coutinho? For some reason he's always linked with Newcastle since last year. I've got no idea why we'd want to join with. But he's doing okay as well. But this impressive crop of players have really struggled in year 3. They made it into the Champions League, but this season they have finished 10th. I'm going to give them 2 more years before this transfer ban ends. Let's see if they can improve on their 10th place finish and even return back to the Champions League, even though they've lost the managers who I gave them. Let's find out how they do. Right, here we are, another 2 years into the simulation, 2 more years into the future. The final season we're going to look at, they finished 10th once again in 2024, which wasn't very good, but now they are back in the top half. They have came 8th, and they've even won some silverware. Yes, in 2025, Newcastle United ended their trophy drought. They won the Carabao Cup. They beat Tottenham Hotspur on penalties in the final, winning 3-2 in the shootout. Lorenzo Insigne scored, Matty Longstaff scored, and Donny van der Beek scored to give Newcastle United their first domestic trophy since 1955. From the team that played in the final, the only players who are actually Newcastle players today is Carl Darlow, who played in goal, and Matty Longstaff, who came off the bench. They've even had a few kids play who've obviously come through the youth academy, some regens, because obviously they can't sign anyone. But the team full of players linked with moves to Newcastle United have won a trophy. They have finally ended Newcastle's trophy drought. Let's have a little look at the transfers, see who else was binned off. John Stones sold for decent money, Icardi loaned out. Morelos Fofana loaned out. And then the most recent season, Dele Alli sold, Fofana loaned out again, Aaron Ramsey sold, and Ross Barkley sold as well. Obviously, we know the managers didn't hold on to the jobs. Let's have a little look in 5 years' time what Newcastle ended the season with. They've got Marcelino as the manager now. He was playing a 4-4-2 with Carl Darlow in goal, a back four which is a strong, solid back four of Jules Koundé, Matthias de Ligt, Kalidou Koulibaly and Clement Lenglet. A midfield four, Timo Werner on the right, Lorenzo Insigne on the left, Yuri Tielemans and Matty Longstaff in the middle of the park, and up front Alfredo Morelos and Anthony Martial. Then on the bench of the previous players, you've got Donny van de Beek, Conor Gallagher, Nicolas Sula, Elliot Anderson, the young player who's on the brink of breaking into the Newcastle team, and you've also got Philippe Coutinho, who could be leaving the club. But this Newcastle team of alleged transfer targets have done what Newcastle fans want. They have won the trophy that has been eluding Newcastle for so long. It looks like in this final season, it's Matthias de Ligt and Clement Lenglet, the top two players. Clement Lenglet has been great at Newcastle, and I mean, of course, Matthias de Ligt, as we looked at him before, but he's actually been replaced as captain now by Yuri Tielemans. Since the takeover went through, Newcastle have been linked with a scary amount of players. I've put them all in one team here, and they managed to take Newcastle into the top four briefly, narrowly missing out on the title, and by 2025 they have won a trophy, even if the team is a lot more streamlined than it was at the start of the simulation. But this is the team that won a trophy for Newcastle. So Amanda, Staveley and Co, if you're paying attention to this video, which I'm sure you're not, these are the players you need to sign. Have a long look there. Take a screenshot if you need to, because that is where we are going to leave things. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.